Right now, on to the point, bracing for a powerful storm.
Tracking the rain and snow heading our way for Thursday with a weather impact alert in effect as well as thunderstorms.
Tonight, the flood concerns across the state. Los Angeles wildfire burn areas on high alert. Plus, the California Fair Plan calling for $1 billion to help pay out the wildfire claims.
There's no tax money. It's literally funded by the insurance companies.
Why private policyholders could soon pay some of the bill. The Citrus Heights Sunrise Mall at a crossroads. How developers are planning to bring it back. And as the Department of Education's future remains uncertain, what could happen to student loans? Tonight, our Verify team investigates.
Good evening. As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. Tonight, a storm is making its way to California. It's expected to bring a lot of snow and rain. Tonight, that rain is causing concerns as communities are still recovering from the deadly and destructive Los Angeles wildfires. Right now, much of the area is under a flood watch. There's concrete barriers in place along roadways, and people are sandbagging their properties to prevent mud flow and debris flow. So, of course, we'll continue to watch that. Monica Woods will have your forecast coming up a little bit later in the show. But we also want to talk about something really important tonight. Homeowners all over the state could be charged a one-time fee to help pay for wildfire insurance claims out of Los Angeles. And it's all part of a last resort tool the California Department of Insurance allows in expensive wildfire disasters. So ABC 10's Becca Habegger has been looking into this. She joins us now in studio to explain what homeowners might face.
Alex, we're talking about the California Fair Plan. That, of course, is the bare bones, high cost insurer of last resort. Now, at the start of this week, the Fair Plan estimated its losses from last month's Southern California wildfires at more than $4 billion. Fair Plan leaders said they were at risk of finding themselves unable to pay all those claims, so they asked for help.
The Southern California wildfires killed at least 29 people and destroyed more than 18,000 homes and other structures. Many people living in these areas were on the California Fair Plan, the bare bones, high-cost insurer of last resort. The state established the Fair Plan decades ago as a way to ensure basic fire coverage is available, but no taxpayer money is involved. Rather, all the insurance companies admitted to do business in the state of California pay into the Fair Plan, and now they're being asked to pay more in the form of a one-time $1 billion assessment spread among all of them. Between the Eaton and Palisades fires, the Fair Plan says they have received some 4,800 claims so far, with estimated losses of more than $4 billion. The Fair Plan leaders say they were in danger of being unable to pay all those claims without that $1 billion infusion from private insurance companies. By state regulation, the Fair Plan is required to ask the California Insurance Commissioner for permission to collect that money, and on Tuesday, Commissioner Ricardo Lara granted it.
There's no tax money. It's funded by the insurance companies.
Los Angeles-based insurance expert Carl Sussman says this one-time assessment will allow the Fair Plan to pay the deductible on its reinsurance, basically insurance for insurers, and the reinsurance funds will then allow it to pay out the rest of the claims.
So effectively, this is sort of the one and done, if you want to put it that way, as far as the Fair Plan is concerned with needing funds.
The last time the Department of Insurance allowed the Fair Plan to pass costs along to private insurers was in the wake of the 1993 Kinaloa fire in Altadena and the Old Topanga fire in Malibu and Topanga. Those affected some of the same areas as this year's fires. But the difference now is the question: could homeowners all over the state also be on the hook? A change in state regulation approved last year allows insurance companies, if assessed up to $1 billion by the Fair Plan, to ask permission from the insurance commissioner to pass half of that cost on to policyholders. That means all across the state, home and commercial property owners with an insurance policy in the regular market could see a one-time fee to help offset costs of the Southern California wildfires. How much that fee might be is not yet known.
What we take issue with is the insurance commissioner trying to force consumers to bail out insurance companies for those payments.
Carmen Bulber is executive director of Consumer Watchdog.
Homeowners are stuck on the Fair Plan because the home insurance industry abandoned their neighborhoods. That's why it should be on the insurance industry to pay those bills, not California consumers across the state.
To be clear, we're not there yet. The Department of Insurance says the commissioner just announced he approved the Fair Plan's $1 billion assessment, so the department has not yet received requests from insurers to pass the cost along to policyholders. holders. Consumer Watchdog says if insurers are eventually allowed to do that, they will challenge it.
Now, we asked for an interview today with the insurance commissioner. He wasn't available, but Becca, in his news release, he did mention one future solution, right? Can you break that down a little bit?
Yeah, Commissioner Lara, as we've been reporting on extensively, has been talking over the last year and a half and spending the last year and a half overhauling California's insurance regulations. Now, he hopes to see the market improve over the coming year because of those regulations. He has long spoken about the need to modernize the FAIR Plan, and part of that includes allowing the FAIR Plan to access lines of credit and catastrophe bonds to help pay claims in worst-case scenarios like we're seeing right now with the LA wildfires. Now, the FAIR Plan currently doesn't have access to that, which in part is why we're seeing this $1 billion assessment on insurers and possibly eventually some of that falling back on homeowners. And now, Alex, Commissioner Lara says there are bills going through the State House right now that would make those changes. And he is, in that news release, saying he's advocating for their passage.
And I do want to mention, tonight we are hearing from also Republican Assembly members in response to the FAIR Plan. Republican leader James Gallagher sent a statement saying, quote, "Forcing working families to pay for the failures of California's insurance market is not a real solution. The real fix starts with reducing wildfire risk, clearing excess fuel, improving forest management, and hardening homes. Until the state takes wildfire mitigation seriously, we'll continue to see insurers leave and costs rise for Californians." Now, you already know this is a story that we will continue to follow. Becca, thank you so much. In other news tonight, a U.S. Navy jet crashed off the coast of San Diego while trying to land. The two crew members on board the fighter jet were ejected, taken to the hospital, and are in stable condition tonight. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. And the future of the Sunrise Mall in Citrus Heights is once again at a crossroads. 4 years after a radical plan to redevelop the area was proposed, bringing new offices and residences, a developer has come forward with a new vision. Ethan Conrad's Sunrise Tomorrow Evolution envisions bringing new businesses to the existing buildings. He's seeking changes to the plan to allow a new drive-through restaurant and also a new Home Depot store, too.
Having Home Depot there, it's the catalyst, right? It's the catalyst to where it makes other national tenants look at it and go, hey, that's a great location. Home Depot's there, In-N-Out's there, whatever, Chick-fil-A is there. Like, okay, that's a great location.
Before this plan can move forward, there will be more public hearings, and Conrad does need approval from the city. Smash and grab car break-ins. They're not uncommon, but what happened to one man's car really caught him off guard. His airbag was stolen. As reporter Dion Lim found, it may become a more popular crime.
It was Friday morning. I went outside to take the kids to school, and the window was smashed in. And, I'm obviously in shock.
It wasn't so much the broken glass and break-in itself that shocked real estate agent Elias Dea, but what was taken.
The airbag was missing, and that was weird.
Even more peculiar to Elias, who had parked his car along the street in San Jose's Oak Grove neighborhood, was that he wasn't the only target in recent days.
Somebody else yesterday had the same thing happen to them, and he told me he had a red Honda too.
San Jose police tell me they've had more than a dozen reports of stolen airbags in the last 6 months of 2024, but pointed out more thefts may have gone unreported.
This is the most commonly stolen one because it's the most easily accessible, the least time-consuming to steal and remove.
Aaron Kessler of JP Auto Body in South San Francisco has seen a fair share of airbag thefts in the past.
I saw it maybe once every 2 or 3 months. I would see it on Hondas, Toyotas, more common everyday people cars.
So the big question is, why are airbags getting stolen? Police didn't comment, but Aaron believes stolen airbags could be a cheaper option for drivers looking for a replacement after a crash.
To save themselves money. That's the most common one I see. Most kind of insidious that I can think of would be organizations, businesses, or people that purchase used totaled vehicles and have no scruples. They intend to title wash the car, get the car from a salvage title where they bought it on auction, change it through multiple states to have a clean title, and then just put that death trap back on the road and make a buck.
Aaron says consumers in need of a new airbag shouldn't seek out used parts.
Certified shops that would never dream of using that. Airbag stuff is always purchased from the manufacturer with the VIN number and an invoice.
SJPD says shatterproof window films and steering wheel clubs can help deter a would-be thief. While Elias deals with insurance to get his car repaired, he'll be keeping it empty from now on.
And we want to try not to encourage these thieves to come after us and target us specifically.
Just when you thought you'd seen it all. All right, the National Insurance Crime Bureau reports nationwide about 50,000 airbags get stolen each year. They say there's a black market for these stolen parts. All right, coming up onto the point, how one Northern California county is preparing for flooding ahead of a winter storm. We'll have the details.
Right, we're tracking that through tonight. Right now, the leading edge of this just starting to press towards the Bay Area. How this will move through our region tonight.
Plus, the negotiations underway to end the war in Ukraine. President Trump speaking with President Putin and Zelensky. Welcome back. Right now, communities are bracing for another round of wet weather. Rising waters from last week's storm closed roads and caused evacuations around the Sacramento River in Sutter County. The county is now preparing for tomorrow's storm, watching for that debris buildup. So let's go ahead and get to Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods, who is tracking that weather impact alert for us tomorrow.
Right. So the leading edge of this just off the coast right now, starting to press in towards the Bay Area, bringing bands of rain. Now, all of this will intensify for tonight as the bigger plume of moisture will start to pull on the coast, driven by this low pressure system, that counterclockwise circulation, so evident with our satellite image. So our weather impact alert in place for tomorrow with rain, snow, thunderstorms, and windy weather. We are storm ready and getting ready for the potential for flooding and big travel impacts for the Sierra. Storm highlights, this hasn't changed much. Valley rain 1 to 3 inches, 2 to 5 feet of Sierra snow. Still tracking the chance for thunderstorms with wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour and a little bit of a fluctuation in that snow line. Wind advisory in place starting tonight. That takes us through 10 a.m. on Friday. Also the winter storm warning in effect tonight, but that's going to last through 10 p.m. on Friday. The other thing we're adding to the mix is now an avalanche watch, mainly for the backcountry because of the intensity and the duration of snowfall. It will be very confined with windy weather as well, and that's going to make some of those slopes very vulnerable. Flood watch in effect, that starts tonight. That will take us through Friday evening as well, with just the lingering impacts of runoff. So the biggest band of rain starting to pull in for tonight. That will impact us overnight tonight through early tomorrow. Even though we get a bit of a break from the big widespread line of heavy rain for the morning commute, the lingering impacts will remain. Likely we're going to see some ponding on the roadways, and it gets going again during the afternoon with that risk of thunderstorms. Snow will continue for the Sierra through much of our Friday, although the valley starts to dry out just in time for Valentine's Day evening for perhaps that dinner night out. Highs tomorrow in the 30s for the Sierra, 40s and 50s down low for the foothills. Across the coast, we're in the 50s after morning lows largely in the 40s. It'll be a warmer morning for us because of the cloud cover keeps that warmer air closer to the surface, and we've got some warmer air moving in, as you can see. By the weekend for the mountains, we're in the 40s after sitting in the 30s for quite some time here. We'll be in the mid-50s over the weekend, but rain for Thursday, early Friday. For the foothills, rain for the coast tomorrow as well. Weather impact alert day for Thursday with that chance of thunderstorms. Saturday and Sunday, even into President's Day on Monday, that 3-day weekend will mostly be dry. Slight chance of a shower coming through on Sunday.
All right, Monica, thank you. Right after the break, the efforts to end the war in Ukraine, a look at President Trump's high-stakes negotiations, plus the future of student loans. Tonight, our Verified team looks into what could happen under new developments at the Department of Education. The Russia-Ukraine war. President Trump is taking steps to try to end the war in Ukraine as it reaches its 3-year mark. Trump today speaking with both presidents, Putin and Zelensky. Christian Cordero has the details from Washington.
In his efforts to broker a deal to end the war in Ukraine, today President Trump spoke with his Russian and Ukrainian counterparts.
I think we're on the way to getting peace. I think President Putin wants peace, and President Zelensky wants peace, and I want peace. I just want to see people stop getting killed.
The negotiations come with a significant shift in U.S. support for Ukraine. The U.S. insisting in order to end the war, Ukraine would permanently cede territory to Russia.
Returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth today also said the U.S. can't be Ukraine's primary protector, citing the ramped-up efforts on the U.S. southern border. And Ukraine's Zelensky has long demanded his country's membership into NATO as part of a security guarantee. The Trump administration says that's not happening.
The United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome of a negotiated settlement.
The White House announcing a series of prisoner releases held in the war-torn region. Mark Fogel, a 63-year-old teacher from Pennsylvania, was classified as wrongfully detained last year. He was 3.5 years into a 14-year sentence for carrying a small amount of medical marijuana through a Russian airport, according to his family. He returned last night. In exchange, the U.S. is releasing cybercriminal Alexander Vinnik, accused of laundering $4 billion with suspected ties to the Russian hackers who targeted the 2016 elections. And the White House announced Belarus released 4 prisoners, including 1 American. Officials are adamant there was no exchange or swap. Belarus is a strong ally of Russia. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
The Senate today confirmed former Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard as President Donald Trump's Director of National Intelligence. Gabbard, who is a military veteran, was confirmed in a 52-48 vote. Gabbard will oversee and coordinate the country's 18 different intelligence agencies. The U.S. Department of Education is now facing an investigation. The Department of Education is now investigating the California Interscholastic Federation over the stance on transgender athletes. And this comes after the CIF said that it plans to abide by state law, which allows trans athletes to compete in the sports team that matches their gender identity rather than their biological sex. This goes against President Trump's executive order banning trans women and girls from college and high school female teams. We did reach out to the CIF for comment. They said that they do not comment on pending investigations. And the Department of Education also rescinded a plan by the Biden administration that could have changed the way college athletes were paid. The plan would have made name, image, and likeness, also known as NIL payments, subject to Title IX rules. President Donald Trump's education officials say the policy had no legal basis under Title IX. And right now, there is a shakeup at the Department of Education. Just yesterday, the agency agreed to block Elon Musk's government efficiency team from accessing millions of students' personal and financial data, at least for now. We know that a group of students sued, accusing the Department of Education of violating privacy laws by allowing Musk's team into student databases without proper clearance. Now there's viral videos claiming privacy violations could mean that borrowers can get their student loans erased. Tonight, our Verify team, Courtney Robinson, she's verifying that that's not the case.
Girl, go get your student loans erased.
This TikTok video has more than 6 million views and almost 1 million likes. It claims that Doge violated borrowers' privacy, so if you file a complaint, your loans will be erased under a law known as FERPA.
You can legally take charge. You could sue them as well, but go get it forgiven. Go get it forgiven in full.
Using these resources, we can verify that's not how it works. FERPA, or the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, protects students' records. A 2002 Supreme Court decision made it clear students cannot sue for violations. Your only option is to file a complaint with the Department of Education. So no, this lawsuit won't wipe out your student loans. Another claim going around, if the Department of Education is shut down, student loans will be erased. That's also false. When a federal agency is abolished, its responsibilities don't just disappear. By law, they get transferred to other departments. A bill already in the U.S. Senate proposes moving student loans and grants to the Treasury Department if the Education Department is eliminated. To be clear, none of this means student loans will be forgiven. The only way that could happen is through a directive from the Trump administration or an act of Congress. The president has made it clear he opposes broad student loan forgiveness and has no plans to expand it. With your Verify, I'm Courtney Robinson.
All right, and stay with us because we're going to show you what we're working on for tomorrow after the break.
It was pretty devastating.
Oh, and we have, a partial structure collapse.
Thousands displaced by the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as families rebuild,
there will literally be no flammable materials as a part of the structure of the house.
One Northern California company, Emergent Construction, is 3D printing the future of fire-resilient homes.
Emergent already has its first contract signed with a family in Los Angeles. In fact, they'll be building this same style house.
It's going to be amazing. I just can't wait.
Watch this special report Thursday on To The Point with Alex Bell at 6:30 only on ABC 10.
It truly is a story that you don't want to miss. So please join us tomorrow at 6:30 for that story. As always, thank you so much for watching and for inviting us into your home. If you have something that we should be looking into, please, please, please reach out to me and the team. We love to hear from you. You can always send us an email at tothepoint@abc10.com. Remember, strangers are just people we haven't gotten the chance to meet yet. So take the time to get to know someone. I'll see you tomorrow.